Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Marks W3700. This is it's a gate lock, but it's a particular type of gate lock. And let's take a look at it right now. So, when it comes out of the box, first, a unique design feature to this is that none of the parts will come out. So, you know, many people have been in a situation where they've taken the back cover off of a mortise lock. Parts have come out. Not with this. This isn't a mortise lock, but nonetheless. Don't worry, parts won't come out, is the moral of the story. This is what it looks like, your exterior side. Obviously, the way that this is oriented from the factory is going to be good for a left-hand application. Is what this is going to be good for. Only a left-hand application. If you need something else, you'll have to reverse this. The inside, we got your thumb piece here. It's normal that it doesn't retract the latch all the way. It only does retract a certain amount. Half inch is the amount that it does retract when you turn that thumb turn, half of an inch. Dimensional properties, let's go over that now. Overall height of the case, about 6 5/16 or so. Overall width, about 3.5. Overall thickness, 1 inch. It's going to be meant to go over something that's going to be about 1/2 of an inch. So when you're building your construction of what you're working on, you'll need to create a structure such that this can sandwich over that sort of dimension. What would be important to obviously know also would be the height of the case itself, about 6 inch, and just heavy, about 3 1/16. Okay. That's 5/8. When the inside plate is brought into it, you're going to be back to 1/2 inch. Being able to access the cylinder, you won't be able to remove that when this has been installed. You would literally need to remove the screws from the inside to get the inside cover off so that you could gain access to this hole where there's a set screw here that will hold the cylinder in. The cylinder's not included. We're going to talk about that in a bit. We're going to demonstrate how to install the cylinder. 4 screws will be included, okay, which is going to go on the inside. Now, where are you going to use this? Let's talk about that right now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Now, the manufacturer states that this would be appropriate for a woven wire gate application. Woven wires, when you're going to have thick pieces of steel that are going to literally look as if they've been woven around each other, is what that would look like. A application for this could very likely be a manufacturing facility where they have some secure storage, where you'll have woven wire that will be built to create a small secured area that is quite obviously part of the manufacturing area, but to gain access to that you might need to go through a person or a keyed gate lock. What would be a typical application would be some sort of controlled inventory. If you have serialized inventory, you might have something that needs to get assigned to a job for that particular application, which needs to be added to the product, and it has a serial number, and that all needs to be logged and tracked. You may put that under lock and key or some sort of control. You might have an application where you need to check material in and out, and there's somebody there. They're working inside the gate secured area, but to gain access to that, you need key access. And because this just takes a typical mortise cylinder, you'd be able to install really any mortise cylinder into it, meaning, well, any builder's hardware, 1 in 5/32 mortise cylinder into it, meaning any keying system platform, you'd be able to successfully have work in this, whether it be something extremely generic like your Kwikset or Schlage keyways, or something restricted, something patented, something practically non-duplicable, whatever the key system is. This sort of lock is going to allow you to have your key work that. It's going to be obviously a custom application because of the arrangement of how this bolt actually works. Gates usually are going to have a very large margin between the jam post and the edge of the gate, so you'll have to keep in mind when you're designing your unit, you know, from the edge of the body itself, you know, you're at 1 1/8", I believe is what it is. Yeah, and then again, 1/2 inch when it's been fully pushed into the lock case. So it's 5/8 now, it's 1 1/8" this way, so it's a 1/2 inch. It's going to retract to 1/2 inch. Okay, so this will include those screws. It does not include a cylinder. This client obviously needed cylinders, and the manufacturer told me that the cylinder that was required was 15/16. We're going to study that. It also is going to include installation instructions. You know, it is such a simple device, it doesn't come apart. If you don't need to rehand the lock, you may not need the installation instructions really at all. There's just a drawing there showing what marks tells you a woven wire gate looks like. We'll look at a better picture of that in a moment. So installing the cylinder, let's talk about that right now. When this lock comes to you, the 2 set screws are drawn in or threaded quite deeply in. You will need an Allen wrench for it. Here it is. I want to tell you the size of what Allen wrench you need. 3/32. 3/30. Should be 3/32. Let's check that. Looks a little small for 3/30. Oh, it is. Yeah, 3/32. 0.092. So 3/32 of an inch. You'll be able to take that Allen wrench, get it down in there, draw that screw all the way out. Not all the way out, just behind the guide that's there that you can see right behind it. No need to remove it, just draw it back out far enough. Okay. Now the manufacturer specifically told me 15/16. And that makes sense because I don't have a 15/16 cylinder. What I do have is a 1/4 inch collar and an 1 1/8" cylinder. Okay, so when I stack that collar under that 1 1/8", I'm going to have a 7/8 cylinder length. The reason you need the 15/16, and I just don't have one here, is that if you use a cylinder that's too long, your cam is not going to engage the lever lock. So now the issue with the 15/16 is those are occasionally not easy to come into. Yeah, 15/16. You could go, I mean, you're not going to, well, there are shorter cylinders technically, but you're not really going to encounter a shorter cylinder commonly. Okay, so now we're effectively at a 7/8 length cylinder, and that works just perfectly at this point. Standard cam is what you're going to need. Yeah, no, pardon me. It's not going to work with a shorter cylinder. Do not use a shorter cylinder. 15/16 would be the absolute shortest because the cam just barely clears the housing or part of the internal blocking that's there. Part of the guides, the bridges that hold the cylinder retaining screws in. So you're just missing that. So 7/8 is a good length for this. Well, pardon me, a net 7/8 or 15/16 would be a good length. If you had a 1-inch cylinder, would that work? I would avoid that because it hits the lever lock in an odd. It would hit the lever lock in an odd area. So 15/16 would be the magic dimension. If your cylinder collar brought you to 7/8, it would still work, obviously, because that's what we're doing here. So once you have the cylinder installed, let's take a look here. Once you have the cylinder installed, you're obviously now going to tighten your screws. Now that gets tight real quick. Oh yeah. Mortise cylinders will always have grooves cut at 9 and 3 o'clock. Yeah, now that's in there really well. No trouble at all. Okay, now you've got an installation. That's a US 10 cylinder face here. You know, would US 4 work as well, or satin brass? It would. I mean, 6/2 does in the other. I'm not sure what color you would actually call that. You know, it's supposed to be a bronzy type color, but it's just cast something. I don't know what cast zinc would be my guess. That's what it's going to look like. Okay. When you install the back cover, you'll need to rotate that to the point to where it seats. You could have it be vertical. You could have it in this odd situation as well. Whatever kind of position suits you best for that. So the question becomes, how do we reverse this? So let's go on to reverse this lock. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So I've never reversed one of these before, but shouldn't be that difficult. You know, obviously the latch bolt's got to get moved out, and when you study this, you can see there's another post right here. So that's a telltale sign. So what we're really going to do is just turn this over and make it look symmetrically the opposite. Good news is I've got another one of them here in case I get really lost. So my experience tells me the first thing that's got to happen is the latch bolt has to come out, but as we evidenced earlier, parts don't fall out, so the stuff has to be captive somehow. So yeah, pushing this is certainly going to allow, yeah, it's going to allow that to come out. Okay, so we're going to want to be really mindful of what we're doing. Put that aside. I mean, we're going to end up wanting to make it look like this. So let's put that aside. And I'm thinking what we want to do is just flip the parts over. Yeah, okay. Well, this really shouldn't be too terribly difficult. So we're going to want it to go like this. Ah. Yeah, okay. So what I did was I flipped this part over, but what I first had was the tailpiece actuator. I moved it over, now it all seems to fit in just fine. So hitting the tail, the thumb turn is going to retract that. This is what's pulling the latch bolt back. So let's get that stuck back in here. I guess this video is only really for someone who's saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. I find a lot of people really... Sorry about that sound. I find a lot of people really sell themselves short when it comes to their ability to understand technical concepts. You know, and I get that. You know, we are in a world... Yeah, okay, we're done. That was easy. We're in a world where people just go to YouTube to look for answers quickly. But this proved to be quite simple and straightforward. So let's get the key. Oh yeah. We're in real good shape. Okay, so that works. Okay, so let's switch to the screen view now, and let's take a closer look at all the supporting documentation, and we'll go over the installation instructions. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, you know, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Here's the item that we are working on. Mark's W3700. Reversible. It's for a swinging application. They have a hook style, which is the W3800, which I'll show you in a moment. Gate lock, less cylinder. It is a single cylinder version, meaning there is a key on one side only. They do refer to a double cylinder version, but I don't know that that's in the catalog, but we'll determine that. Optional knob and lever actuators are available, made in the United States. Now, let's take a look at the manufacturer's catalog. I already have it pulled up for this. There's not a lot of information here that we've not already covered. Reversible handing. No fallout when you turn the when you remove the lock case cover, obviously. Yeah, gold powder coat they call it. That's what the swinging lock will look like. The sliding lock has a hook on it. I've seen that one as well. Let's take a look at the manufacturer's catalog. Below this video, here is a link to the manufacturer's page where we can then fire up the catalog. I'd like to see if there's anything specific in this document beyond what we've already worked on. W3700. Yeah, it doesn't even show up in their catalog, which could be... Yeah, it doesn't show up, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't see it in the index at all, and that's unfortunate that it's not in here. I was hoping for more information. There just isn't any that I have available to me. Let's look at an older catalog, a 2012 catalog. Nope. Doesn't seem to have made any catalogs in the last 10 years. Okay, so let's look at some photographs that we have. There's the label on the box. What's in the box? The back side, obviously. You're certainly going to want your gate designed to be such that you can't reach in and open that. The parts inside of the case, assembled, partially assembled, I suppose. Side view, the opposite side, and then your fasteners. Now, I also mentioned installation instructions. Let's go over those. And by the time you're seeing this video, there'll be a PDF listed here as well. W3700, 3800. That's going to be a hook bolt. Meaning if you have a sliding application is what that means. They do have an optional lever, apparently. I don't know what that part number is. Reach out to us. Actually, it's right here. Well, the lever stop plate is here. Okay, I see. That will prevent it from over-rotating. So they're obviously going to pull a lever out of their mortise lock collection would be my idea, and then restrict it with this stop plate. So the page 1 will tell you how to install that lever. When you open up the document, it will face you, and here is what would be page 2. We're showing this upside down for some reason. No, actually, I'm not sure what they're showing you here. What lock this could possibly be. Unless all of this ought to have been drawn up here, is what it has to be. All of this in these holes are in the wrong place. Or these holes need to be here and here, and it needs to be rotated around 180 degrees. So the cylinder would sit up here, obviously. All right, let's go to the what would be page 3. It has information that applies to us. Here's what the hook style for a sliding application would look like. Seems to be, the same concept. Let's just look at our latch assembly. Insert cylinder completely into case with cam in vertical position. Tighten cylinder set screws from both sides. We had an 1 1/8" cylinder, so we're not installing the cylinder completely into the case. Ours is sticking out ever so slightly. Engage latch lever with pin on post adapter and place it over either post. They're talking about how you might be needing to move these parts around. Notched end of latch lever must be on outside leg of fork. A lot of this language is hard to follow. Retract washer on latch rod to compress spring. We're talking about getting the latch bolt pulled out. Place latch assembly with washer in recessed pocket so end of latch stop overhangs edge of latch lever. Yeah, just that paragraph does nothing for me. Just do what I did earlier. To reverse, okay, sure. We went over the reversing instructions. Then the back side of the installation instructions are here. It's really just a parts breakdown. Oh, good. They give us... Yeah. They give us part numbers, actually. WA9293 would be your interior lever assembly. You'll need the stop plate as well. Okay, very good. It's nice that they have parts listed for all these items. It would be unusual to have to replace something, but good to know that there are part numbers for parts. That does infer that you can indeed just order parts. Okay, there is a link, that same link I should say below this video was going to allow us to be able to not only see that catalog I referred to earlier, but all of the Marks items we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, that prior catalog and other prior catalogs that I had mentioned, and a link to the manufacturer's website as seen here. Well, I was about to tell you about Marks, but let's wrap up this video on camera and I'll do so there. Regarding the links to ads that you might see in this video, we do apologize for any interruption to a smooth viewing experience, and hopefully the ads that are being presented to you are related to the base product. And if there is something, feel free to click on those and perhaps consider taking a look at what that other advertiser is promoting. Let's get back to the video. So as I'm finishing up this video, I wanted to tell you about Marks. I admittedly don't do a lot of Marks business. It is by no intentional design. It's just, for me, it seems that Marks does not unintentionally, again, come into the conversation as often as it might for other distributors. And I'll tell you that that is unfortunate to a certain degree, and here's why. Every time that I call Marks, the person that I speak to is able to answer my question like that. Like that. I needed help on a cam for a interchangeable core mortise cylinder housing. The person who answered the phone knew the answer like this. Nowhere in any of the published data, as you could see earlier, there wasn't a lot of published data. I didn't know what length cylinder to order. You have to know the length of the cylinder to know what you're working with. The person who picked up the phone, just like that, knew the answer. Just like that. It's, it's something, there's something to be said when you call a manufacturer and their people just know their product like that. And that has happened every time that I've called them. There are other examples. There was an unusual gate mortise lock that we were involved in. I needed to know part numbers of. The client wanted to replace on this unusual lock, maybe a European style lock, just the trim, and no part numbers listed that I could find. The person who answered the phone knew it just like that. So I'm appreciative to Marks for that. I don't shy away from doing business with Marks products because I know that the factory is so good at supporting distribution. If you have any questions on the W3700 or any other Marks product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you. Thanks to our clients, Architectural Builder Supply is building an additional facility, and what follows is not only a look at the acreage that we're building the facility on, but also first the architectural renderings as they exist, or at least the architectural plans as they exist at this time. Thank you very much. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at the architecturals as they exist at this moment, or at least it wouldn't be proper to call these architecturals, but it would be proper to call them renderings in the sense of they're conceptual drawings, they're not renderings. So the entire space is going to look like this in terms of a site rendering. This will be a 22,000 square foot building, of which will have specific purpose areas. There'll be a workshop down here. This is a few thousand square feet that will be likely woodworking, metalworking, CNC, things of that nature. This will be an office area here, a private office area. This will be Architectural Builders Supply expanded storage area where we will be able to do fulfillment. The entire space in the center is going to be all of the volume, as I call it. Large components will be able to be stored and stocked there. Machinery that's too large to fit otherwise may be put out here. Specific facility rooms, and then some recreation over here. Let's take a look at that drone footage, and thank you very much for taking a look.